What's up? This is Josio. You know what it is. It's another video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like what I'm talking about. Also, watch the entire video. Really appreciate it if you get all the information out here. So, Don wanted me to talk about what it was like when I got my position at Apple. So I used to work for the Apple store. This is partially manifestation where you understand yourself and you know your core identity. You know something about yourself, and then you see things that align with who you are or how you identify. Started off, there's different positions within any company. You had your sales section, and then you had your tech support. Everybody knows the geniuses, but nobody really knows too much about the creatives. And just as a title, that relates to me because I'm a creative person. I've identified as a creative person since a child. I identified with it, and then the next step was to pay attention to everybody who held that position. And then I just continue to analyze the ecosystem and what's going on. So who held the positions of power, who has experience, and luckily they have a lot of great people within the company as the brand goes. Eventually, after working there for a while, I noticed a couple of people who I think I could just talk to, and I just asked them how they got to their position. So that's another step, right? First, know who you are, know what you want, and then look at who's gone there already, who's been there already. These are very simple things that we all do, but maybe you forget, and we tend to forget when it's time to really put it into action for the thing we really want. That's actually number one at the highest of priority, is that you already know what you need to do. You've done it before for many of the things that you care less about. But for the things that you care the most about, somehow your brain just goes, how could I possibly get this? It's the same thing as everything else. The difference is your emotions. So put them in check and go for what you want. I had noticed who are geniuses, who have positions, so I asked them questions how they got there. And they told me their individual stories of what they did and what I should do to position myself in a way that is gonna lead to what I want. So I listened to them, I talked to them, they talked to me. Thankfully, I asked questions, they answered. And then I just put it into action immediately. Right, I was very focused, and I came into work. Obviously, I focused on doing the job that I had to the best of my ability. Also, keep everything going. Whatever you're doing right now, you don't have to completely divert. I mean, if you do, cool, but I'm saying you don't have to. Keep doing what you're doing day in and day out, but keep your mind on the steps, the things you need to do to move towards what you want, and keep making those steps. And as you focus on making those steps, you're going to make progress over time because you keep going. I also continue to ask more questions, continue to connect with the people who I think had the answers, and they continue to give me feedback. And I just took their feedback and then put it into action, to the point where all of a sudden things opened up for me. Because apparently a creative position never really opens up, or rarely opens up. So it's one of the most coveted positions, particularly because of scarcity, and then secondary because of the mystery around it. Because at the time, at least, no one really knew what creatives do. They just knew about creatives. One of the key points was I had to become a part of the workshop team to prove my teaching ability. And so I did that. I talked to the person who ran the workshop team, and she was cool with it. And that's the next step I took. I started teaching workshops. Creatives were there watching, and they gave feedback on my teaching ability. And they gave me the feedback, I took the feedback, and I made moves. And I think everybody was also paying attention to how I was moving, and the fact that I maintained a positive attitude throughout all of it, and that I kept putting the work in. And mind you, this is a closed environment where we see each other every day. So consistently over time, people are going to see you making these moves. In your world, it's still your world. There's still people you're connected with. So tap back to those people. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know about what's happening next, because They're on their own journey, obviously, but it's nice to know as an individual. For you, think about this. If you took time out of your day to tell somebody about something that could possibly help them because it's out of your experience, and then come back later and be like, yeah, that thing you helped me has helped me push forward. I assume if you're really genuinely helping that person, you're gonna feel good about that because you're gonna feel like what you did was valuable, and that helps you to continue. That's motivation for you to continue to help other people if you have the time and space, right? So go back to those people and let them know what's up. Like, let them know that they're valuable. Let them know that they help you. Let them know about your progress. Let them know if you're even struggling. They might help you more, right? Because I'm aligned with these things, because these things are connected with my core self, I'm probably going to be good at it. I'm probably going to put in the work, and I'm probably going to be good at it. So I could build a skill that I care nothing about through repetition, and I can become really good at something that is not aligned with me. Imagine putting in the reps on something that is aligned with you. There's that innate spiritual connection, that the void, the self, all that stuff that people talk about has and with you, that electrifies, charges the act of repetition. So it's even more powerful, I would say, to do these things with things that are aligned with you. So just like to tap back to the first thing I mentioned. And so I became really great. The workshop feedback score rose. I think because of my participation, I think that helped a lot. The creative spot opening up happened afterward. What the creative team decided to do, the lead creative decided to do, because I knew who I needed to talk to. I did talk to him specifically about that opportunity. And what they allowed me to do is whenever a creative wouldn't show up or couldn't make a teaching session or something like that, they'll give me the opportunity to fill in for that creative. Mind you, I had already proven some of my teaching ability by teaching workshops in front of the creatives. The creative team is familiar with me. They know about me. They know what I want, what I'm doing. The manager that was overseeing my progress, I think I communicated what I wanted as well. So people know, and people see, and I'm doing. The opportunity presented itself, and I'm primed for it. Mind you, my expectation, I don't have an expectation that I'm gonna get the role this entire time, mind you. Because of what they said about the scarcity of the creative role, it rarely pops up that it's available, but I'm like, okay, but that's what I want though, so it don't matter to me. I'm gonna be shooting for that no matter what. That's where I'm positioning. I was zeroing in on that. I was like, that's what I'm focusing on. So when the position finally opened up, which was in short time compared to how it was predicted, anybody could have got the position, to be honest, but there was an opportunity. So one day, a session opened up. I think a creative wasn't able to take a session or something like that, and they asked me to come in, and then the lead creative decided to shadow me and watch me while I was doing it, because I'm not a creative yet. Who am I? You know what I mean? So I sit down there and I work with the dude. The dude's nervous, and I remember very specifically because I think he's also Ethiopian or Eritrean. You know how y'all are with that. I don't know which one he was, but I asked him where he was from because I could tell he was a foreigner, and I'm a foreigner. If there's a connection point between you and I'll find it. Especially if I feel like you're uneasy, I'll find it, and then we'll put you at ease to make you feel like you're in some form of familiar company. And I don't know why he was nervous. In hindsight, after having all of my experience having the job, usually people just feel really anxious because Apple has this air of aristocracy and high intelligence and expectation that you should know what you're doing when you step in here. So if you step in, even I know you booked the session because you don't know when you want to know, but still, you know what I mean? Like there's aversion to coming into this space of quote unquote know-it-alls and saying I don't know. And when I asked him about where he was from, that broke the ice and he calmed down and we're able to talk. I do have a very caring, endearing vibe as a teacher. If I'm there, it's part of my personality. I want to be useful. I want to be helpful. I want to help you, and I also don't want to waste time. So that's just how I am. And then added on with the fact that, being warm, trying to find a connection point. I think all those things combined so that to help this man feel better and learn something. And the reason why this is memorable is because after that session, the higher up managers came back telling me about the feedback that was given to them from that lead creative, telling them. And I remember, I don't know if he said this, because now I'm like, because I asked him about it a while ago and he didn't seem to remember, but I was told that he said I have the unteachable skill. And that for me was one of the highest compliments ever. Something that's unteachable, that's innate. I realized that everyone talks about how teaching is a very unique thing, and people who are able to teach or have a passion for teaching, they're very special or whatever. Okay, but that's what that was. There's another trial and tribulation where they were like, we can't just give you this position, even though you're primed for it. We have a system set up, so you have to get into this other position, a lateral move from sales to the tech side. Make that transition into that realm, because you got to understand a bit of the mindset around the steps that you would take to troubleshoot something or work with somebody, or because the big thing is about your communication and connection with the people. Despite your innate ability to deal with people, they still have a system to make sure you know how to deal with them. So I had to do tech troubleshooting for a while, and that was difficult, very challenging. Felt like I struggled. I felt like I also learned a lot. I got good at it through repetition, right? It wasn't necessarily aligned with me. It was aligned with a small part of me. I kind of am that way naturally, solving problems, helping people. That's cool. So yeah, we're all good. But remember, I'm a creative, and I want that creative position, the creative role. So, and that's a teacher role, and I've been told a couple of times in life. I've had moments where I felt like I told my mom, I was like, I feel like I should be a teacher one day. She's like, yeah, I had a dream you'd be a teacher. And I was like, whoa. And apparently when I was younger, I used to be showing other people how to use the computer when I was a child. So you see how aligned this was. I remember and our store was one of the busiest stores in the area. We're in a mall. And we're by the airport. Jeez, you know what I mean? It's like, there's a long line every day. Oh my God, it's like never ending. Like from the time you come in, you might have a lull if you're on the morning shift. But if you ain't on that morning shift, bro, you're on that thing, hitting that thing hard. Everybody who was working on that team of troubleshooting, there's a go-getter, like get it done mindset that you gotta have, because there ain't really much downtime, at all. So eventually though, I got the role, man. Eventually, you know what I'm saying? They interviewed me. I talked about some of the things I wanted to do with the creative role and how I was thinking about it. I observe a lot of stuff as well, because there's that level. But that piece is perseverance and being willing to take on challenges, or maybe things you would consider roadblocks, being willing to rough it through, because that was rough. And it was a challenge, and it was difficult. And I know there's competencies. I can't remember, but maybe they wanted to see me develop certain competencies and then transition them into the other role. But dude, it was difficult. So let's go back through the list. Know yourself, right? You gotta start with you, and then connect that to your goal. And hopefully there's a connection between the core you and the goal. And then you figure out who's gone there, who's been on the path, who's ahead of you. Get to know them, or ask them questions. Take the feedback, take the knowledge, apply it, reconnect, and go to the next level. Do the same thing. Build your skills, report back, and persevere through hardship. And do the work every day, and have a positive attitude about the fact that you are moving towards what you want, and that you know yourself. Ideally, because it's connected with you innately, you don't have to change too much. That's another thing too. Like, maybe you do want to change, right? So that's on you. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that if it's aligned with you and your core self, you probably won't feel too much pain in your core. You probably won't have to change much at all. You just have to actualize yourself. That's the true change. I wouldn't say change in a negative way of detracting from yourself. You would amplify yourself and become a stronger version of yourself. And that, my friend, I think that's where it's at. Because you gonna be you till you die, or transition into another energy form, however you want to say it. So it might as well be as great as possible on the way through. So that's it. That's how I became a creative at Apple. That's how you can achieve your goals. You already know this, and you've already done this with other things. Now just refocus it to the thing that's really getting you excited. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you learned something, definitely like, subscribe for more videos. I do art, I teach, I talk, obviously, and I do flips and tricks and kicks, martial artsy, Power Ranger, ninja stuff called tricking. So subscribe for more. This is Josio out.